Yo, what's up guys? Today I am so excited to be showing you guys this brand new Zane build I just came up with. It's super fun and it's a completely different way to play than usual. Before I get into the build, thank you all so much for the support. I'm gonna be hitting 1,000 subscribers so soon, and it's all thanks to you guys for watching my videos and encouraging me to make more. Hit the like button, hit the sub button if you want to see me get to 1,000, and if you want to see more content just like this. Let's get into the build. Alright, this one's called Fallout Boy. It's a nuclear Fallout build that uses tons of radiation weapons and the red suit shield. If you guys saw my red suit shield review earlier today, you saw the insane interaction I found by using the all-rounder augment with the barrier. For those of you who didn't see the video, I'll link it below. But basically, with the distributed denial capstone, the all-rounder augment, and the red suit shield, your barrier will become a bubble full of radioactive gas, and if you also use the detainment field, it'll trap most enemies inside and make them take extra shock damage on top of that. So I wanted to make a really cool theme build, taking advantage of all this stuff, and it turns out we got some firepower out of it too. So enough with the intros, I'm going to break down the build. Alright guys, so like I said, we're running the red suit shield. What this shield does is it gives us 100% radiation resistance, and then it just has a ton more abilities that just do a bunch of radiation damage. We have a constant radiation aura around us that damages enemies that even just get close to us. It's actually pretty funny, it damages ghosts too. Sometimes it kills them before they can touch you. It returns radiation damage if we get meleeed, and it triggers a radiation nova when the shield breaks. So what's really cool is when you combo this with distributed denial, our barrier literally gets all of those abilities. Not only does it get the radiation aura around it, but when the barrier goes down, like when our action skill is over, it also triggers that nova. So like I said, I found this cool combination where we're going to be using the all-rounder and the deterrence field, and we're going to try to trap some enemies. So let me show you guys the skill tree real quick. I'm not running Brain Freeze, and I'm not running Calm, Cool, Collected. Only for the reason that I was running these in the first build I had, only because when you're running the green tree, these are some of the best skills. But I was not taking full advantage of it. So I figured I should just not run it, and I should just go more into some of the shield abilities and a little bit of health regen. We needed some health regen, honestly, so that's pretty cool. So yeah, I'm using all the first three abilities, max points into them. I'm using Rise to the Occasion, Stiff Upper Lip, max points, Confident Competence, really expensive jacket, and Futility Belt. And I put 1 point into Nerves of Steel just to get to Distributed Denial. I don't really think this skill is that good. You could spend this point somewhere else if you want to, but the rest of these abilities all have to do with cryo damage and Calm, Cool, Collected, which we are not running. We're not running any cryo weapons, none of that. So next I'm using the Digiclone, because the cool thing about the Digiclone is he gets a copy of your shield mod, if you guys didn't know. So not only will we be trapping people in our radiation barrier, but we'll be putting our clone in there too to stack the damage. So I've got 5 points in Synchronicity, 5 points in Borrowed Time just to get longer durations. I put 5 points into Duct Tape mod to get some extra damage, Fractal Frags for more damage, a couple spare points I had into Donnybrook, and then I got Old You for survivability, 1 point in Pocket Full of Grenades, and 1 point in Boom Enhance. I like to use the Doppelbanger a lot, so that way I can take my clone down whenever I want, just so in case we want to move to like the next area, or there's some downtime when I know enemies are going to come the next round or the next wave. I find this skill really useful actually. Not so much for the damage, but more for the utility. And then I just picked Digital Distribution. Honestly, a lot of the clone augments aren't too great to me, except for which one's real, but I just chose Digital Distribution this time because why not? Anyways, moving on to the inventory. Now, we're using some pretty cool weapons. So like I said, the red suit shield, that was a given. I decided to use the executor because of the kill skill. It raises status effect damage, which we have an insane amount of status effects in this build. And it raises the chance. So everyone's constantly always going to be irradiated. And what's cool about radiation damage is enemies will irradiate each other and explode when they die. So there's some pretty cool synergies just, with the executor mod. Then I'm running an atom bomb. What this does is it ups our radiation efficiency, our radiation aura damage. Just anytime an enemy gets irradiated, it boosts everything. So then besides that, with the grenade, I'm running the epicenter. I found you actually want some fire damage in this build because radiation damage in true Vault Hunter mode is like super effective against shields. And then also enemies trapped inside of our barrier with the detainment field always get their shield stripped. You guys might notice in the gameplay, but while I was playing, none of my enemies ever had shield. Just ever. So I found that a fire grenade, and I'm also using a fire shotgun, helped a lot. So on to the actual weapons I'm using. The Wester gun. I don't know how many of you guys have already used this, but I actually just started using this thing recently. And this thing does a lot of damage. I'm pretty sure it was actually buffed in the last hotfix. Mine rolled with radiation and corrosive damage, which is absolutely perfect because one thing radiation is weak to is armor. So this Wester gun carried me through so many rounds. This thing I just used almost the entire time. It was so good. And you'll see most of the footage is from Slaughter 3000. I beat all 5 rounds no problem. And when we got to the robots, I used the corrosive on the Wester gun and it definitely melted them. So next we're using the Pestilence. This is a really strong pistol. A lot of the COV pistols are pretty strong, but they usually either have a downside or they use a lot of ammo. This thing uses probably a medium amount of ammo. I'm not going to say it doesn't use a lot, but it's not as bad as something like the Linoge. Like, this thing doesn't go through ammo like the Linoge does. It uses a lot less. And then we're using the Jericho, because, why not? Usually the one downside about this weapon is that it can hurt you too, but with our red suit on, we can't take any radiation damage, so this thing was pretty great. This is more of a fun weapon. You guys can replace this with whatever you want, but if you guys want to have fun like I was with this build, definitely use a Jericho. It's really cool. And then finally, a Fire Fearmonger. Now, I actually found this while killing on Slaughterstar. I was using a Hellwalker before this. I was actually testing with a lot of different guns in this slot, but like I said, I found a lot of time our enemies never had shield, so I think having a fire gun is really important. I think actually if you're looking for a fire gun with splash damage, so either a fire Tediore Everblast or a fire AR would be really good. Like maybe a fire Bearcat, just because we're grouping a bunch of enemies under our barrier, so we'll be able to do lots of splash damage to them under there. So yeah. So those are the weapons I used, those are the skills I used. I'm going to talk to you guys about some of the gameplay of this build. This build was super fun to play. It was really weird. Normally whenever I'm using the barrier tree, it's in a cryo build. So this was very unique. It made a lot of play patterns that I wasn't used to. So most of these clips are from the second time I ran this build instead of the first time. And I really enjoyed it. It was like I got to use my barrier like way more tactically. Normally you just toss your barrier on top of yourself or you pick it up and you just let enemies walk towards you as you shoot them. But I was instead running around a lot and using this to isolate enemies from other ones. And I gotta say it was really kind of like rewarding in a way, because Whenever you just have your barrier on and you wait for enemies to come to you, then you have to deal with them all at once. But when you just put the barrier over a couple enemies, it's really cool. And like I said, it separates them from other ones, and then you either get to focus the ones inside the barrier, or you get to focus the enemies nearby. I also noticed with this build, there's tons of staggering between the detainment field, like the grenades you're shooting off, the shotgun blast staggering big opponents. It was really cool. I also came to Slaughterstar 3000 because I didn't want to throw this build directly into the Slaughter Shaft. Because not only is there tons of armor through the whole thing, but you guys know the Slaughter Shaft. I don't have to explain to you. But I'm probably gonna end up testing with this build again and trying to refine it. I'm gonna say right now, I don't think this is the final version, but as you guys can see from like a lot of these clips, it's just really cool. Like I said, with the play patterns of using your barrier more as a weapon instead, and I think I definitely think it's strong. I definitely think there's more potential here, and there's more to be discovered from this playstyle. So that's about it. I'm probably just going to play a couple more clips for you guys who want to keep watching some gameplay. But that's pretty much everything I have to say about this build. If you guys have any tips or ideas for what could make this build better, I would love to hear it. Comment below. We'll probably talk for a little bit. I'm always in my comment section replying to you guys. And yeah, that's probably it for the video. So drop a like if you like this build, drop a dislike if you dislike this build, sub to the channel if you want to see me hit 1,000 like I was talking about earlier, and I hope you guys really try this out. Try using the barrier as a weapon for once. It's really cool, it's really rewarding like I said, and it's really fun. So, have a great day guys, and enjoy.